25 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. You are still watching Smart Men's Business. My name is Chantal Akanina and I'm in studio with Andrew Barija, taking you all the way till 10 in the morning. And guess what? It's time for us to check out what is happening in the world of entertainment, especially when it comes to business. And I'm looking forward to knowing what is taking place on your side.
Well, quite so many interesting news here. And of course, I don't know what the entertainment lovers will perceive of what, of course, we're about to review this, but definitely it's all about doing some analysis regarding what's really transpiring right here. And of course, we start with Disney as it's hit with the antitrust suit over live streaming TV prices. And of course, the YouTube subscribers take issue with Disney's ownership. That's of Hulu, that's an ESPN, which they say has allowed the company to drive up prices across the market. Probably before I go any further regarding this, Disney is a big market player, and when it comes to streaming related activities, and you find that it being a monopoly of such, it kind of influences streaming prices of other streaming platforms across, of course, the entire entertainment industry. So that is causing quite some questions and worries. And regarding that, of course, as we continue here, we see that an antitrust lawsuit has been brought against the Walt Disney Company. That's in a case that targets the entertainment monolith's dual role as a content supplier and distributor. That's in business dealings. And of course, Disney operates Hulu, the country's second largest streaming TV provider, paid TV provider, while also controlling ESPN. The proposed class action accuses Disney of managing the businesses as a single entity, claiming that the arrangement allows that's the company to negotiate anti-competitive agreements with competitors that have inflated that's the cost of live television streamed over the internet. And we see an influx of streamers across the world, and we know that the streaming really started to take serious initiatives during the COVID-19 when the movies were going theatrical, and there wasn't much movement into the theaters. So now Disney, one of the biggest players when it comes to pay TV, seems to be like they're trying to take, of course, advantage of this. But of course, this still comes after we know that just a few days back when they resumed a new CEO, that's Bob Iger. So probably such a suit, we don't know where it will really end into this. Probably it could be one of the few changes he will be trying to implement to change, because he just can't change the company policy, however much you were a much person that played a very big contribution to the company, and then you brought back. You don't change the policies just in one night, so it takes time. Okay, still continuing with Disney, we see that the suit pits YouTube and YouTube TV subscribers who filed the lawsuit. That's on Friday in California. That was last week. The federal court against Disney, and of course they point to business dealings that effectively grant the company's ability to set a price floor for the market and push up prices across the industry, that's by raising the prices of its own offerings. So Disney raises the price of its own offerings, and before we know it, the entire streaming giants are also doing the same. And of course, in a statement here, says that since Disney acquired operational control over Hulu in May 2019, prices across streaming pay TV and of course market including for YouTube have doubled. So you get to understand that's what we are talking about here. And of course, this is a complaint by some of the major competitors. And of course, this dramatic market-wide price inflation has been led by Disney's own price hikes. That's for Hulu Plus and Live TV. So you get to understand how, because Hulu is one of the biggest paid TV streams that's in America, and of course, if it's really raising up these rates, you get to understand that it's going to be quite, it's going to spread into the entire country and the movie lovers. Unlike here in Uganda, where we don't really much embrace streaming. Chantal, do you stream? Do you take some time? Have you ever streamed a movie, like, let me say, like, oh, I think I should stream this movie?
Yeah, on the different streaming platforms, yes.
Okay, personally, I find it hard.
Why would it be hard? If you have the internet, then you're good to go. And you've already subscribed or paid to the particular platform, then you're good to go.
I just love, okay, I feel like streaming is a bit, networks. Sometimes you try to watch and it's buffering.
Okay, the buffering part, yes,
yeah.
but it depends on the network coverage and the network service provider you're also using.
Well, you have a point.
Yeah.
All right, still continuing with Disney. It's quite a remarkable report TV, report here. We see that cable TV providers have long criticized Disney's affiliate fees to broadcast ESPN and its sister networks, and of course as part of the cable package. It's widely regarded that such fees were the primary driver. Such fees were the primary driver of basic cable price hikes in the last decade. In 2015, ESPN's affiliate fee was as much as 4 times as expensive as the fee to broadcast TNT, and of course, which had the second highest fee behind ESPN. ESPN's leverage eroded with the advent of cord cutting and viewers eschewing cable TV, and of course, in large part, this was due to aversion of consumers. This was aversion by the consumers from having to pay. That's for channels they didn't watch or want, and of course, they flocked to lower the cost-free alternatives. All right, the first substantial volley came from traditional cable and satellite TV providers and also controlled internet service providers. And of course, here we see, for example, the version in 2015 stated to offer what they called the skinny bundles, taking advantage of ambiguity in contracts that didn't expressly over distribution of ESPN over the internet, and of course to end Disney's long-running mandates on pay TV packages. Disney sued Verizon, claiming the downgrading of ESPN as an odd tire was a violation of its carriage agreement version eventually, and it capitulated rather. And of course, still further on the suit, the suit also takes aim in ESPN contractually requiring ESPN still be included as part of any basic cable package, and by imposing as part of these agreements, so of course what they call the most favored nation, that's in quotes, and of course which ensures that ESPN affiliate fees negotiated that's with any given competitor representing a countrywide price floor. This means that if Disney raises the price for Hulu with live TV, which it operates, its competitors have to do as well. So Disney commands the entire market response. Like that statement when they say that when France gets a cold, when France sneezes, the entire Europe gets a cold.
Yes.
So when Disney spikes up, gets a headache, the entire industry gets fever. Oh, okay, it's so interesting. Of course, YouTube TV subscribers are saying that Google's dealings with Disney have resulted that's in an increase of the base package. That's from $35 to $65 per month. In 2021, YouTube stated that it could provide a base plan without ESPN at less than $15 that it was charging during a feud with Disney over a content agreement. The lawsuit was filed days before Bob Iger returned, of course, to Disney. Now, this is interesting. Bob Iger returning to Disney, and I believe these are some of the policies. These are some of the matters to look into regarding Disney's pricing policy, if he gets to understand its impact on the entire industry, and this would be something he would really consider. Of course, still we see that the lawsuit was filed days before Bob Iger returned to Disney to lead the company. Iger, who succeeded Michael Eisner as CEO that's in 2005, shepherded Disney through a period of massive growth, mostly by pursuing mergers that grew its reputation as for global content powerhouse. And of course, he acquired Pixar for $7.4 billion, and that's in 2006. Marvel for $4 billion in 2009. Lucasfilm for $4 billion, that was in 2012, and Fox for $71.3 billion in 2019 as part of the deal that included 20th Century Fox Studio, Fox Search, and FX Networks. Oh my God! Look at this conglomerate of businesses that Disney acquired. Marvel being one of them, and we see Lucasfilm. We see 20th Century Fox being part of that. So you get to understand how big this I'm not surprised that
you
they
understand
really
why?
detect.
Yes, why Disney is almost a monopoly,
yes,
and the truth is the biggest market players have a hand when it comes to how much. I mean, when it comes to pricing of commodities and services in the economy. So it should be expected.
Very, very surely. All right. Of course, some of the acquisitions would likely be challenged by competition enforcers who've turned their attention to consolidation. Of course, that's in the media industry. And of course, the complaint, which seeks to represent roughly 5 million YouTube TV subscribers who say that they are paying inflated subscription fees, claims a violation of the Sherman Act. And of course, Disney didn't immediately respond to requests for comment regarding this matter. So probably something is going on in the background, of course, for the movie lovers out there, but of course specifically for those who stream movies and not those who you go and get copies already finished. Well, I'm a victim sometimes. Okay, now we come to the end of the entertainment report here as we look at Ed Sheeran, Dua Lipa, and music publishing drive Warner Music revenue growth. So we are looking at these two artists who are behind Warner Media, Warner Music revenue in terms of growth. And of course, the fiscal quarter revenue rose 8.8%, it can be 16% in constant currency terms to 1.5. That was 1.5 billion US dollars, driven by the music publishing gain and digital revenue growth. Warner Music home, of course, home to heights. It's a home to the likes of Ed Sheeran and of course Cardi B and Bruno Mars, which reported higher fiscal returns. That's for fourth quarter revenue and net income. That was on Tuesday, with each music publishing unit growing revenue by 23.9%. You know, talking about Warner Media, there is the Warner Brothers Pictures, and we see the Warner Music Group coming together, and we see that the music branch is also really benefiting quite lots from that.
Well, what would save a business right now is how diverse you are.
Perfect. It really sets a trend to other players, and of course to those that are aspiring to be a part. The versatility is very important. All right, still on this particular report, we see that the music major said, that's the CEO of Warner Media, said that in its record, say that the top sellers in its recorded music unit, and of course in the latest period, included Ed Sheeran, of course Dua Lipa, Jack Harlow, and of course Lizzo, and also there. And the fiscal quarter revenue rose 8.8% or 16% in constant currency terms, and of course that's we are talking about 1.5 billion. The net income for the latest quarter, ending in September, amounted to 150 million US dollars, compared with 30 million recorded in a year ago. The company said before the stock market opened, this was the results. This was the profits that were recorded before the stock market opened. And of course, adjusted net income rose from 69 million US dollars to 170 million. And of course, quarterly operating income jumped 63% from 100 million to 163 million US dollars. Warner Music Group CEO Stephen Cooper, during a morning analyst call, welcomed the music subscription services led by Apple Music and Deezer, and of course raising their monthly subscription rates despite of course the recessionary pressures in the wider economy. And of course, this is a statement from the CEO. He said that making these announcements in the current economic environment shows that the music subscription services offer amazing value, that's to the consumers. Cooper said, that's the CEO. He also added other music subscription services were also likely to raise their own monthly subscription rates. Spotify is expected to follow Apple Music and increase its own prices. That is in the year 2023. Warner Music artists share in their royalties when their music is played on Apple Music, Spotify, and other music streaming sites. And of course, the CFO Levin told the analysts, consumers will continue to embrace music subscription services globally. Now, the chief financial officer, that's Levin, said that they think there is a lot a lot of runaway to look forward to. And of course, he added that as they developed markets, they will see that they continue with this particular growth, and emerging markets will grow even faster, albeit with a lower revenue that's per subscription rate. At the same time, Levin pointed to ad support streaming services like YouTube Music being held back by recessionary pressures, and that the growth in that sector would return when the wider economy, of course, improved. CEO Cooper also addressed speculations on the streaming music market share for music label giants, including Sony and Universal Music Group. And of course, this was falling as a host of far smaller music creators increasing their product launched online. While the distribution has been democratized, talent never will be. Genuine talent is rare and difficult to find, and discovery is just the beginning. Of course, we see here that the true long-term success requires significant resources, including financial investment, global infrastructure, creative expertise, and skills to navigate the changing tech landscape. And of course, that's according to what the analysts were saying. Chantal, this is very interesting. If a music label comes out and says that this artist, you've really contributed really great to my revenue, I'm trying to understand what this really calls for, because I was watching something about, you can't get excited. A record label can reach out to you, for example, when I music group, and they tell you we're going to sign a contract with you for probably 5 years, and this contract we are going to pay you $10 million US.
Right.
And you get excited about it. And sometimes actually they give you this cash. But then the responsibility that comes after that, handling that, because they need to feel the value of that money come back.
Well, they need to first of all state the terms of agreement. If you are giving me that money, what are you giving it? Why are you giving it to me? And what am I going to use it for?
Exactly.
And then there you would know whether you can take on the deal or not. I'll bring it down to Uganda. We saw that artists like at one point, artists like Vinka that were being signed up by Universal Studios.
Exactly.
No, Sony.
Sony.
Pardon me, Sony Studios.
Africa.
Yes, and very many people had something to say about this, and some were saying she's entering into a contract she will not gain from, a contract she's just going to be used and stuff like that, because there was precedents that had been set that are not the very best. But if the rules of engagement or the terms of engagement have been put forward and they are clear to both parties, it shouldn't be a problem.
Sure.
Unless if the artist fails to deliver on the expectations, sometimes some of them reach a point and they grow complacent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And because of that, that's how they lose out. But short of that, they should be able to deliver depending on the terms of engagement.
I remember back in the days, that was in 2014, there was a rapper that came up. It was called Trinidad James, and this guy used to wear all this gold, and he made a song that really made the world go crazy, and it was crazy. I could see really moving. But then reports came out that the record label dropped him, saying that the record label said that he was incompetent. He was actually said he was broke. Now I was because the rapper went broke, so he was dropped. So I'm trying to understand. And when I came back to really get to break it down, it came back to like a scenario I told you, that some of these labels can give you money in advance, and on that money,
whatever you use it for.
Exactly. They expect you to produce the songs. They even tell you choose the studios as long as you get the quality, get a team, get songwriters, get an assessment team, and on that 10 million you're going to pay all of those. But I think some of these artists get too excited
about
when they look at the money.
Yes.
They go spend it recklessly. Of course, part of that money is part of your brand. You need to get yourself a house because you're a brand. I mean, you're not going to just get out there. So now when you went broke, it's like he reached a point and he didn't have that money. He had used the entire money. So the record label had to drop him. Actually, he survived that. He was going to be sued.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say, because at that point you're going to have to be sued and you're going to have to compensate record label. Yes, you're going to compensate, and you're even going to pay more than what you were given, because you've wasted their time.
Exactly.
And you've misrepresented at one point, so there would be a number of cases that would actually be put or lodged against you.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. All right. Still on this report regarding Ed Sheeran and Dua Lipa, of course, being responsible for Warner Revenue's increase in revenue, we see that music publishing unit revenue for the latest quarter increased. We are looking at Warner Music increased 32.3% when assuming constant currencies, and of course the revenue increase was driven by growth in digital and performance revenue. Of course, when we talk about digital here, we mean digital sales. You go buy an album, you download it probably on Apple Music, Spotify at a certain fee. So quite digital sales were increasing. Warner Music said, like regarding that particular statement, we see that digital revenue jumped 32.5%, or we can say 39.5% in constant currency. And of course, music publishing operating income of 36 million compared to 28 million US dollars. That's prior a year quarter. And of course, recorded music revenue in the quarter climbed 6.1%, and this was about 13.1% in constant currency. And of course, this is due to artist services and expanded rights revenue growth of 21, that's 0.4%, or 33.3% in constant currency still. And of course, reflecting an increase in merchandising and concert promotion revenue, digital currency grew 2.9%, or 8.1% in constant currency. Recorded music operating income hit 165 million. That is from 129 million prior a year quarter. And of course, in the statement here by the CEO says that our strong fourth quarter and full year results were driven by our talented artists, songwriters, and teams across the wide range of genres, geographies, and generations. Outgoing Warner Music Group CEO, that's Stephen Cooper. And of course, against the backdrop of a challenging macro environment, he says that they once again proved music's resilience, of course, with new commercial opportunities emerging all the time. Of course, we are very well positioned, this is the CEO saying that they are very well positioned for long-term creative success and of course continued top and bottom line growth, and they're excited to have the entire team working together to ensure that this really comes up through. Well, what do we really get to learn from this particular aspect? We get to understand the importance and relevancy of really having structures. Chantal, I think somebody told me that in Uganda, it's where you find somebody. You go to the studio, you're your own writer, you're your own director, you're on your producer, and perhaps you're your own engineer. And we don't really take time to get to understand that having a team is what really, each member on the team with the professional skill. Yeah, and professionally for sure. That's why I would really advise somebody, if they're really pursuing something, despite if you already know it, you can go further and pursue some higher education regarding that, and you get acquainted with those particular skills, because we are looking at money.
Well, I must say, some individuals have been deliberate over the years to put focus on some of these things. And you're going to when you do some bit of analysis, or when you interact with some of these top business people, they'll show you that they have invested in people. They have invested in their businesses in such a way, because people are resourceful when it comes to business. So they know that they cannot run all the aspects. You can't be the CEO, then you're the COO, and then you are the supervisor, and then you're the sales personnel or sales manager. You cannot.
You can't, definitely.
So those that have understood that, and the culture is growing slowly, because even the number of businesses that have failed because of owners not investing properly, there are also quite many. So they have learned the hard way, and right now what we're seeing is some of the Ugandans trying to get up and, I know this is heavy, but if I should start a business, I need to have some kind of financing, or I need to have enough money to sustain it for a certain stretch. The problem with us is we just enter without planning. That is the foundation of the problem.
Or probably we want quick returns where we put less.
All that can be put in. How did you plan?
How did you
prepare yourself
Okay.
when you were venturing into that business?
Okay.
Yes.
That is quite a great tip for the morning, getting to understand how to invest in people. And as today we had a quote that was saying, the today's quote, customers. So it all comes back to getting to understand that for you to please your customer, actually, who is a person, you still have to invest in another person to please that customer.
And businesses thrive when people look at the service business. If you entered a restaurant first time and you are served poorly, you will most likely not want to go back, or not even go back, and you will not recommend a friend to be like, the waitresses that side, they're very arrogant, they're very rude, and as if you sampled all the employees that work there. You understand? Just one person. So one bad experience like this in the service industry, for example, and you've lost a number of clients. Yes.
Well, professionalism should be really incorporated, and still relating it back to the Warner Media, to the Warner Music Group, seeing that quite a big team, and of course putting together these resources to ensure that this comes out. You can look at something, a song, and you wonder why somebody is really selling out 200 million copies, and you probably think it's just about having a good voice and you go out there, but it's money. If you say that it's your job, if you say that this is going to be my job, this is my career, respect it with absolute respect, and ensure that you do whatever it takes. Learn what you need to learn to ensure that you perfect your craft, because there is quite lots of competition out there. It's an ocean of talents out there. You might think you're the only one doing what you think you do, but before you know it, you're going to be surprised. That's the reason as why majority, you start in huge numbers, but very few really make it up to the top, because you need to understand that criteria that need to be followed for you to attain that success that you need to attain. Over to you, Chantel.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Verige, for today's for today's entertainment. I don't know why my head is in sports. I had a chance to watch a bit of the World Cup, but
yes.
It's a long stretch sometimes. I just want this. The pressure is too much.
Football pressure.
Yes, I would be the kind of lady you will find in a group of guys, and we're watching, and if they're almost scoring, I'm not going to stay seated. I'm going to be the ones that are cheering my team or something like that. So
that's why I do really focus so much on football. I remember those times when I was really hardcore fan. Pressure is too much. Actually, I always tell people, if you have experienced heartbreak, it's similar to when your passion, almost kind of similar when your team loses a game. There are those days when your team is playing a hard game and you're like, but shall we win this game? And it's in 2 weeks' time, and you lose appetite for 2 weeks over football.
Those are too many emotions. Well, thank you so much, Verige, for the entertainment business news. Well, we get into a very short break. When we come back, we are going to be discussing matters taxation. So make sure that you stay with us. Good morning.